Imagine holding a coin that you might casually spend on a piece of candy or drop into a jar without a second thought. But in reality, that same coin could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars if it carries the right error or rarity. This isn't just a dream. It's the story of the 1976 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a piece of history minted during the American bicentennial year, a year already celebrated for its patriotic spirit and unique collectibles. What makes this coin so fascinating isn't just its copper shine or the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, but the fact that certain versions of this coin have become some of the most hunted treasures in the coin collecting world. Right now, as you listen to this, millions of these coins exist in circulation, but only a few rare examples hold the potential to make someone an instant millionaire. The 1976 Lincoln penny carries the iconic image of Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, who first created this portrait back in 1909. The reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gaspareau, a design that was in use from 1959 until 2008. Unlike the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins of 1976, which featured special bicentennial designs, the penny was left unchanged. Still, that doesn't mean the coin is common or uninteresting. Its real value lies in its variations, mint errors, and the small details that only expert collectors pay attention to. While billions were struck, the differences in where and how they were minted, and the rare mistakes that slipped through, have made certain examples extremely valuable. One of the key factors behind the desirability of the 1976 penny is its mint mark. In 1976, pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark. Denver coins carry the D mark, and San Francisco coins can be identified by the S mint mark. The San Francisco Mint in particular produced proof coins, special collector strikes with sharp details and a mirror-like finish. A flawless proof coin, especially one graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And when you add in error varieties, the value can skyrocket into life-changing amounts. Among the most sought-after 1976 pennies are those with striking errors. Off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchards are just some of the mistakes that can transform a single cent into a treasure. A double die obverse, where Lincoln's portrait or the inscriptions appear doubled, can bring in huge amounts at auction. Similarly, a penny struck on the wrong plancha, for instance on a dime blank or a foreign coin blank, can be worth thousands. Imagine finding a penny that looks strange, thinner, or oddly colored, only to discover it was actually struck on a plancha, not meant for a penny. Collectors go wild for these types of coins, and they will pay fortunes to own them. Even beyond errors, condition plays a massive role in determining value. A 1976 penny that has been circulated heavily is worth only face value unless it carries a unique mistake. But an uncirculated coin, especially one that has been preserved in pristine condition for nearly 50 years, can command high prices. The grading scale used by experts ranges from poor to perfect, with a mint state 70 being absolute perfection. At this level, a coin has no flaws visible under magnification. If you come across a 1976 penny in this condition, particularly a proof example or one with a rare variety, you could be holding a coin worth far more than you ever imagined. Now consider the historical backdrop of the 1976. The year marked America's 2000th birthday, and while the penny itself did not carry a special bicentennial design, its connection to that pivotal moment in U.S. history makes it special. Collectors often seek coins from milestone years, and 1976 holds a unique place. People who lived through the bicentennial often saved coins as keepsakes, meaning many 1976 pennies were tucked away in drawers, jars, and collections. Some of these coins have been preserved in such fine condition that today they look almost as fresh as the day they left the mint. Auction houses and coin dealers have documented incredible sales of 1976 Lincoln cents. For example, rare proof errors, especially deep cameo proofs with striking mistakes, have sold for thousands. Off-center strikes or double-die varieties in top condition have shocked collectors with hammer prices reaching tens of thousands. The true million-dollar potential comes from the one-of-a-kind errors, coins struck on wrong planchets, dramatic off-centers combined with other flaws, or unique proof errors that simply should not exist. These are the coins that can change lives, the ones collectors dream of finding in pocket change or inherited collections. Stories circulate of ordinary people discovering rare pennies in change and later learning they were sitting on a small fortune. It's part of what makes coin collecting so exciting, the idea that a treasure might be hiding in plain sight. The 1976 penny is no exception. While most examples are only worth 1 cent, the rare versions can be worth anywhere from a few $100s to life-changing sums. That's why collectors advise examining coins carefully, looking for doubling in the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," or inspecting the mint mark for unusual features. Even a small detail out of place can mean the difference between a worthless penny and a 6-figure prize. Another element that makes the 1976 penny fascinating is its material. By this year, the U.S. Mint was still striking pennies in mostly copper, with 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition would continue until 1982, when the switch to primarily zinc was made due to rising copper prices. Because of their high copper content, older pennies like the 1976 issue are already sought after by bullion enthusiasts. But the real draw remains in numismatic value, the collector's market that pays for rarity, condition, and errors rather than metal content. The beauty of coin collecting is that you don't need to be an expert to get started, and the 1976 penny is a perfect example of this. Anyone can check their change or an old jar of coins at home and possibly find a treasure. The key is knowledge, knowing what to look for, knowing how to spot the errors, and knowing when to seek professional grading. A professional grading service can authenticate a coin and assign it a grade which dramatically increases its value at auction or in private sale. Without grading, even a rare coin might sell for less than it's worth because buyers want the assurance of professional evaluation. The thrill of discovery fuels the entire coin collecting community. Every 1976 penny tells a story. Some are ordinary, worn from decades of circulation, while others are extraordinary, carrying mistakes that elevate them into a different league entirely. Collectors chase these coins not just for profit, but for the joy of owning a piece of history. The penny, perhaps the most overlooked denomination in everyday life, transforms into a jewel when it carries rarity. So, the next time you spot a 1976 penny, don't dismiss it as just pocket change. Take a closer look. Examine the details, study the mint mark. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary that millions of people once carried it in their pockets, but suddenly discovering that this small copper piece could make you a millionaire. A simple Lincoln penny from 1977, something most people would overlook, has become one of the most shocking treasures in numismatic history. This isn't just a story about a coin. It's about how a piece of metal struck in the right year, under the right conditions, and preserved in the right way, can transform from pocket change into a life-changing fortune. For collectors, hunters, and even the curious dreamers who check their loose change, the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent coin is a reminder that sometimes riches hide in plain sight. The 1977 Lincoln cent belongs to a series that stretches back to 1999. When the coin was first released to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. By 1977, the penny had already become an American staple, struck by the billions each year. At first glance, nothing seemed special about this date. Over 4.4 billion pennies were minted at Philadelphia, over 5 billion at Denver, and around 66 million at San Francisco. These numbers alone might convince anyone that the 1977 penny is common. And in most cases it is. But as numismatists know, rarity isn't always about how many coins were made. It's about how many survived in perfect condition, how many errors slipped through the minting process, and how few have been identified by collectors. The real story of the 1977 penny begins with its composition. Struck from 95% copper and 5% zinc, it weighed 3.111 grams, a formula that would change just a few years later in 1982 when rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a copper-coated zinc planchet. Because of this, any high-grade copper penny from the late 1970s carries a certain nostalgic weight, symbolizing the end of an era. Collectors today recognize that the 1977 issue represents some of the last years of the true copper cents, and that alone increases demand for pristine examples. But what truly propels certain 1977 pennies into the realm of million-dollar coins are the rare errors, conditions, and unique characteristics that transform a common cent into an extraordinary treasure. Among the most coveted are the 1977 double-die obverse pennies. These coins show dramatic doubling on the date, the word liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." For the untrained eye, these look like minor blurs or shadows, but for collectors, they're like finding gold. In high-grade condition, a double-die 1977 penny can fetch thousands, and if perfectly preserved, the price skyrockets into the six figures. Add the mystique of auction battles and rarity, and suddenly we're talking about coins that break expectations, climbing toward the million-dollar mark under the right circumstances. Then there are off-center strikes, broad strikes, and wrong planchet errors. Imagine a 1977 penny struck on a dime planchet, smaller and thinner than usual, or a cent with part of the design missing because it was struck off-center. These accidents, which should have been caught and destroyed by mint workers, occasionally slip out into circulation. When they do, they create some of the most desirable rarities in the numismatic market. A normal 1977 penny might be worth just 1 cent, but a 1977 penny with a rare planchet error in pristine condition can be valued in the tens of thousands. And in today's frenzied collector market, where even common error coins can ignite bidding wars, the right 1977 penny could be valued at hundreds of thousands, or even $1 million. Grading is another vital factor. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with mint state 70 representing absolute perfection. Most 1977 pennies in circulation are heavily worn, with scratches, discoloration, and nick. But a 1977 penny preserved straight from the mint, with sharp detail and blazing original luster, is a different story. In mint state 67 or higher, especially with a red designation indicating that the coin has retained its original copper color, the value jumps astronomically. Collectors are willing to pay astonishing prices for such perfection, because the number of surviving coins in these grades is extremely small compared to the billions minted. A single MS-67 or MS-68 red 1977 penny can command thousands, and the rarest flawless examples have pushed toward record-breaking prices. The allure of the 1977 Lincoln cent also lies in its accessibility. Unlike many rare coins that require vast sums to even begin collecting, the penny is something everyone can search for. This makes it a treasure hunt that doesn't discriminate. Anyone could stumble across a rare error or high-grade example in a coin roll, a jar of change, or even an old family collection. Stories abound of people discovering that their old jar of pennies contained a treasure worth more than a luxury car or even a house. It's this sense of possibility that drives people to keep searching, hoping that their next coin could be the one worth millions. Auction houses have fueled this excitement by showcasing spectacular sales. While not every 1977 penny has sold for astronomical amounts, certain varieties and conditions have reached jaw-dropping numbers. The headlines create a frenzy, ordinary penny sells for over $100,000, or rare Lincoln cent auctioned for record price. These stories spread quickly across news outlets and social media, convincing even casual observers that the pennies in their pockets might be worth far more than face value. It's a modern-day gold rush, except the gold is copper, and the mines are the pockets, jars and drawers of everyday Americans. But the true magic of the 1977 penny lies in what it represents. It's not just about wealth, it's about history. Every Lincoln cent carries the face of a president who led America through its darkest hour, a reminder of resilience, freedom, and unity. The reverse design with the Lincoln Memorial connects directly to one of the most iconic symbols of American democracy. Holding a 1977 penny is like holding a piece of cultural memory, stamped into metal and passed from hand to hand for decades. When such a coin is discovered in pristine, rare, or extraordinary form, it becomes more than money. It becomes a relic of American heritage. The excitement around the 1977 penny also underscores the importance of attention to detail. Most people never look closely at their coins, dismissing them as everyday objects. But for those with sharp eyes and patience, the smallest differences can mean the biggest reward. A tiny doubling of a letter, a shift in strike, or even the preservation of original mint luster can spell the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. This is a lesson not just in collecting, but in life. Greatness often hides in the details that others ignore. For collectors today, the hunt for the 1977 penny continues. With millions still in circulation and countless rolls sitting untouched in banks and households, the chances of finding a treasure remain alive. Every time someone dumps a jar of old change onto the table, there's a spark of hope that a fortune might be sitting in plain sight. And every time a new discovery is made, whether it's a high-grade gem or a bizarre mint error, the legend of the 1977 Lincoln cent grows stronger. So the next time you come across a penny from 1977, don't dismiss it. Look closer. Study the details. Check the condition. Because history has shown us that even the most common coin can hide an extraordinary secret. What appears to be worth just 1 cent might actually be worth millions. And the key to unlocking that fortune lies in knowledge, patience, and sharp observation. That tiny piece of copper could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, a coin that most people would walk past on the street without a second glance. Yet this very same coin has the potential to be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. The Lincoln 1978 1-cent coin may appear to be just another ordinary piece of copper, but for collectors, numismatists, and treasure hunters, it represents one of the most fascinating parts of American coinage history. What makes a simple 1978 penny so valuable? How can a coin designed for everyday circulation suddenly transform into a rare treasure capable of changing someone's life? That's the mystery and magic behind this coin. And in this script, we are going to dive deep into the story of the Lincoln 1978 1-cent coin, exploring its history, errors, varieties, and the reasons why some examples are selling for astonishing amounts today. The 1978 Lincoln penny belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series that first debuted in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features the iconic portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, which had been in use since 1959. By 1978, the Lincoln cent had already been circulating for decades and was one of the most familiar coins in American pockets. At first glance, the 1978 penny doesn't stand out. Tens of millions were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Yet, beneath the surface of this massive production run lies a fascinating world of minting errors, special varieties, and conditions so pristine that collectors are willing to pay extreme amounts of money to own them. What sets the 1978 Lincoln penny apart is not its design but its details. Coins are mass-produced, and small mistakes at the mint can turn what would normally be a 1-cent coin into a valuable rarity. Collectors hunt for double die errors, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchettes. In 1978, the U.S. Mint produced more than 5.5 billion pennies, which makes finding rare error varieties even more exciting because they are like hidden treasures among mountains of ordinary coins. For instance, a 1978 penny struck with a double die obverse, where Lincoln's features the date or the inscriptions show doubling, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the clarity of the error. Similarly, repunched mint marks from the Denver or San Francisco Mint are highly collectible, as they reveal the handcrafting process of minting before everything was fully automated. Condition is another factor that drives the value of the 1978 Lincoln. While a circulated penny from that year might be worth only face value, an uncirculated specimen graded at the highest levels by coin grading services can command eye-popping prices. Collectors pay close attention to luster, strike quality, and the absence of scratches or marks. A coin preserved in pristine condition, tucked away in a roll or collection since 1978, can be worth hundreds of dollars, and in some cases rare examples have sold for tens of thousands at auction. Imagine a coin that cost only 1 cent to produce selling for more than the price of a brand new car. That's the kind of market excitement that fuels the chase for these coins. The story of the 1978 penny also ties into its composition. This was one of the last years before the big change in 1982, when the U.S. Mint shifted from a primarily copper composition to zinc. The 1978 cent is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.1. Because of its copper content, the intrinsic metal value of the coin is higher than 1 cent, but the true worth lies in its rarity and condition rather than the metal itself. Collectors cherish copper Lincoln cents, not only for their historical continuity but also for the rich reddish golden tones that well-preserved examples can exhibit. A brilliant red uncirculated 1978 penny can shine with eye appeal, making it stand out dramatically in a collection. Some of the most remarkable 1978 Lincoln cents are those that were struck on the wrong planchettes. For example, error coins struck on dime or foreign coin planchettes are incredibly rare and can fetch thousands of dollars. These mistakes happen when a blank intended for another coin gets mixed into the presses at the mint. Imagine pulling a 1978 penny out of change only to discover it's thinner, lighter, or smaller than usual. Chances are it could be a valuable error coin worth a life-changing amount. Stories of collectors stumbling across these kinds of coins at flea markets, in pocket change, or in old jars have inspired many people to start checking their pennies more closely. The mint marks of 1978 Lincoln cents also play a role in value. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint carry no mint mark, while those from Denver carry a D mint mark, and proof coins from San Francisco bear an S. Proof coins in particular are a different class altogether, struck with specially prepared dies and polished planchettes. Proof coins from 1978 were sold to collectors in sets. These coins, with their mirror-like surfaces and sharp details, are highly desirable in perfect condition. A deep cameo proof 1978 S penny graded PR70 can command prices in the thousands because of its perfection and rarity in that grade. It's not unusual for collectors to pay extreme premiums for the absolute top-tier examples, since only a handful survive in flawless condition. Auction records further highlight the potential of the 1978 penny. While most circulated examples hold little beyond sentimental or curiosity value, top-graded and rare error varieties have shocked the numismatic world. A pristine example certified as MS67 red by PCGS or NGC can sell for several $1,000s. And unique errors can push that even higher. There are even reports of unusual 1978 cents fetching over $20,000 at auction. The coin community often buzzes when one of these rarities appears, sparking renewed interest in hunting for these hidden treasures. It's this potential for extraordinary value hiding within a common coin that keeps collectors checking rolls of pennies year after year. The Lincoln cent also carries historical weight. Abraham Lincoln was the first president to be featured on a circulating U.S. coin, and his legacy adds to the appeal of the series. Collectors view the penny not just as currency but as a miniature tribute to one of America's greatest leaders. By 1978, the coin had already been part of American culture for nearly 70 years, linking generations of people who used it in daily life. For some, owning a rare and valuable 1978 penny is like holding a piece of both monetary history and Lincoln's enduring influence. So why would anyone call the 1978 penny a $1 million coin? The answer lies in the unpredictable world of collecting. While most pennies from that year will never be worth more than a few cents, the rarest, most perfect, or most unusual examples can reach staggering sums under the right conditions. Collecting is fueled by rarity, demand, and the passion of those who want to own something unique. A wealthy collector may be willing to pay whatever it takes to secure the rarest known example, pushing the price into astronomical territory. When rarity meets desire, even the smallest coin can carry the weight of a fortune. For the everyday person, the 1978 penny serves as a reminder that hidden treasures can be found in the most ordinary places. A jar of old coins in your attic, a roll of change from the bank, or a penny that slipped into your pocket decades ago could be worth more than you ever imagined. Stories of people discovering rare pennies and selling them for life-changing sums continue to inspire both new and seasoned collectors. It's this dream that a simple coin could unlock wealth that makes the search for the 1978 Lincoln cent so exciting. In the end, the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent coin is more than just money. It's a story of history, craftsmanship, mistakes, and hidden potential. It's a coin that proves value is not always about size or denomination, but about rarity, condition, and the thrill of discovery. For collectors, it represents both a challenge and a reward. A small copper piece that could hold immense financial value and priceless historical significance. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone curious about the coins in your pocket, the 1978 Lincoln penny is a symbol of how something so small can carry such monumental meaning. So, the next time you spot a penny, take a closer look. You might just be holding a coin worth millions. Imagine pulling out a penny from your pocket, thinking it's worth just 1 cent, only to discover it could be valued at thousands or even millions of dollars. That's the story behind the Lincoln 1996 1-cent coin. A small piece of copper-plated zinc that most people overlook, but collectors study closely for its hidden secrets and rare variations. While at first glance it looks like every other penny minted in the 1990s, certain errors and conditions can turn this simple coin into a fortune, making it one of the most fascinating coins from modern U.S. history. The Lincoln cent has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1909, when it was first released to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1996, it had already been in circulation for decades, transitioning from a mostly copper composition to a copper-plated zinc design in 1982. This change in composition introduced new challenges for the U.S. Mint, leading to a variety of minting errors that collectors now treasure. A 1996 Lincoln penny might seem ordinary, but certain details can separate an everyday coin from one that belongs in a millionaire's collection. The year 1996 was a relatively high mintage year for pennies. Billions of coins were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, with the P mint mark not used on pennies, so Philadelphia coins appeared without any mark. Denver coins bore a small D under the year, while San Francisco coins, primarily proof versions, carried an S. Because of the massive production, most 1996 cents are common, and in circulated condition they're usually worth just a cent. However, when it comes to numismatics, rarity and condition matter far more than sheer numbers. Coins that are nearly flawless, struck with unusual errors, or preserved in pristine proof condition, can skyrocket in value. Among the most famous valuable versions of the 1996 penny are those with minting errors. Error coins are produced when something goes wrong in the minting process, creating unusual results that collectors crave. For example, a double die penny from 1996, where the design appears slightly double due to a misaligned strike, can fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on the clarity of the doubling. Off-center strikes, where the coin is not struck in the proper alignment and part of the design is missing, can also bring serious money. In extreme cases where half of Lincoln's portrait is cut off, such coins have been auctioned for thousands. Another category of valuable 1996 pennies comes from die breaks, also known as cuds. These occur when the minting die itself cracks or breaks, leaving unusual raised blobs or lines on the coin. Collectors see these as unique fingerprints of the minting process, and depending on how dramatic the error looks, the value can jump significantly. Some 1996 pennies with dramatic die cracks have been listed online for hundreds of dollars, proving that imperfections can be far more profitable than perfection. But beyond errors, condition is the single biggest factor that can elevate a 1996 penny from pocket change to treasure. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins based on their strike quality, luster, and preservation. A 1996 penny, in mint state 68 or 69, meaning it is nearly flawless under magnification, can sell for thousands of dollars. In fact, auction records show that collectors are willing to pay staggering sums for high-grade examples because so few have survived decades of circulation without scratches, wear, or discoloration. For those lucky enough to discover such a coin in a roll of pennies or an old collection, it could feel like striking gold. The San Francisco proof pennies of 1996 are another highlight. Unlike regular pennies, proofs are struck with polished dies and specially prepared planchets, giving them a mirror-like finish. These coins were never intended for circulation and were sold directly to collectors in mint set. A proof 1996 penny in perfect PR70 condition can command high premiums. Some examples have sold for several $100s, showing just how much collectors value the artistry and precision of proof coinage. What truly drives the fascination with the 1996 penny, however, is the possibility of hidden value. Millions of people handle these coins every day without realizing that a tiny detail, a small doubling in the date, an off-center strike, a missing mint mark, or a flawless surface, could make the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and one worth thousands. Stories circulate in collector communities of people who discovered rare errors tucked away in jars of spare change, instantly transforming an ordinary day into an unforgettable one. It's this element of surprise and discovery that fuels the ongoing excitement around Lincoln Cent. Collectors also see the 1996 penny as a piece of history. It represents an era in the U.S. mint's production where mass minting was the norm, but quality control issues gave rise to unusual coins that are now hunted down by enthusiasts. Each era coin is essentially one of a kind, a snapshot of the minting process gone awry, and owning one is like holding a unique artifact that no one else has. For numismatists, the value lies not just in the potential profit, but in the story each coin tells. For investors, the 1996 penny is also appealing because of its potential to appreciate over time. As more collectors enter the market, demand for high-grade and error coins continues to rise, while the supply of flawless coins dwindles as they become locked away in private collections. What may be worth a few $100s today could very well reach into the thousands tomorrow, especially if a particular coin becomes famous through auctions or collector publication. Ultimately, the 1996 Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how something small, common, and seemingly insignificant can hide extraordinary value. It proves that treasure can be found in the most unexpected places, even in your pocket or an old coin jar. The next time you come across a penny from 1996, take a closer look. It might carry a mint mark that tells a story, a flaw that transforms it into a rarity, or a pristine shine that sets it apart. In the world of coin collecting, the line between ordinary and extraordinary is razor thin, and the rewards for paying attention can be life-changing. So while most people dismiss the 1996 penny as just another cent, collectors know better. They know that within that copper-plated surface lies the potential for discovery, profit, and history. And for the lucky few who find one of the rare high-grade or error-filled examples, this 1-cent coin can indeed be worth thousands, or even millions in the eyes of passionate collectors. That's the magic of numismatics, turning the smallest coin into the biggest treasure.